Chapter 3. My Mother, a True Love. My mother came from Hongkou, a district in Shanghai located just north of the colonized the Bund. However, her ancestral roots trace back to Ningbo, the birthplace of both her parents. Ningbo was more than just their hometown. It was a culturally and historically rich city, a crucial place in modern Chinese history. This was where James Hudson Taylor, the pioneering British missionary, began his mission in China. His impact transformed Ningbo into a hub for missionary work, facilitating the exchange of Western ideas and ultimately making it one of China's flourishing commercial centers. His influence persists today, evident in the city's spiritual traditions and its political and economic significance in China. Interestingly, the people of Ningbo, known for their keen business sense, strong adherence to tradition, and deep family loyalty, have often been referred to as the Chinese Jews in the past. This label conveys respect, embodying the revered qualities of wisdom, discipline, and resilience. As the 20th century began, my maternal grandparents relocated to Shanghai in search of fortune and opportunity. For a time, fortune favored them. They built a thriving business, earned wealth and respect, and lived comfortably. However, no amount of wealth could shield them from sorrow. Out of their 13 children, only 6 survived to adulthood. My mother was the 5th child, with 3 older brothers, an older sister, and a younger sister. Before the war, they lived comfortably in a grand home that provided them with prosperity and security. But on August 13, 1937, war broke out in Shanghai. As Japanese bombers neared, the sky shook, transforming their home into a site of smoldering ruins in an instant. Nevertheless, my grandparents salvaged some of their wealth, allowing them to start again. They acquired a 3-story stone gatehouse on Tangshan Road, a couple of miles away from their old ruins. Tragedy struck again with my grandfather's passing from heart disease at just 48 years old. My grandmother, faced with raising 6 children independently, emerged as a strong matriarch. In the years that followed, my mother became her favorite, not only for their shared confidences, but also for her unwavering support, strong sense of duty, and willingness to lend a hand. After completing high school, my mother enrolled at the newly established Shanghai College of Finance and Economics, led by the renowned economist Sun Yifeng. She excelled in her studies and, upon graduating, secured a position at the Shanghai Commerce Bureau. There, she quickly climbed up the ranks, ultimately becoming the head of the accounting department and the workers' union chair. She had a gentle demeanor and quiet determination, embodying grace and intelligence. At work, her diligence and efficiency earned her the admiration of her colleagues. At home, she was a source of pride for her family. However, she harbored a secret. She had joined the Communist Party discreetly. She was the only one in a family of capitalists and businessmen who chose a different path in this new era. From every angle, my mother embodied the ideal young woman of Shanghai, educated, politically promising, and in high demand. Her future seemed bright. However, everything changed when she met my father. The news of their relationship sent shockwaves through her family and her workplace. My father represented everything her world warned her against. Hailing from a rural background, he was born in a remote mountain village with only a primary school education. As a migrant laborer from a remote mountain village with limited education, he had arrived in Shanghai only to seek employment. To my mother's established and wealthy family from Ningbo, this was not acceptable. My grandmother was heartbroken.
"How could this occur?"
she mourned, twisting her hands. She worried that her beloved daughter was throwing away her future with the wrong partner, but was even more afraid that breaking up the relationship would shatter her daughter's heart. Yet her siblings were adamant the marriage should not go ahead. Their rationale was simple: he wasn't from Ningbo. To them, that was a valid and good enough reason to oppose him. However, the difficulties my mother faced at home were minor compared to those at work. At the Commerce Bureau, her supervisors summoned her for serious talks, discussions that blended persuasion with caution.
"This concerns your political future,"
they told her.
"Little Yang isn't even a party member yet. He's still under evaluation. How long has he been in Shanghai? Just a few years? His situation is unstable, and his career outlook is uncertain. Additionally, he has family overseas. His brother and sister live in Taiwan. They are on our enemy's side. Do you grasp what that means? That alone complicates issues. In contrast, you're a party member and a rising cadre within the Commerce Bureau. Marrying someone like him could jeopardize your career, reputation, and political opportunities. Why take such a risk? You have options. Many reputable men, including those in leadership, are interested in you. Think this through carefully, Xiao Shen. Don't make a mistake regarding something this important."
This was not merely advice. It served as a warning. Years later, in 2018, I sat with Mrs. Xiao, my mother's former colleague at the Bureau, in her home. Now elderly, her hair had turned silver, and time had softened her voice. However, her memories intensified her gaze as she reminisced about our conversations. She shook her head, pondering the determined young woman my mother had been.
"She was excessively kind,"
Mrs. Xiao lamented.
"so gentle yet remarkably resolute. She refused to heed advice from anyone, not us, nor her family. She was unwavering in her decisions."
Mrs. Xiao's eldest daughter, Xiaoping, and I were childhood friends, going through kindergarten, elementary school, and high school together. Her second daughter attended the same class as my younger sister, while her youngest was in my younger brother's class. Mrs. Xiao, who is a few years younger than my mother, worked as a telephone operator. In her younger years, she faced significant challenges in her relationship with a section chief from the Bureau, experiencing considerable emotional stress. My mother, who served as the Bureau's union chairperson, often provided her comfort and support. Ultimately, thanks to my mother's efforts, Mrs. Xiao ended up marrying the section chief. Even after 60 years, she remembers my mother's kindness with remarkable clarity. Due to our deep-rooted connection, I fondly recall an afternoon in the early years of the Cultural Revolution, around 1966 or 1967, when my mother took me to visit Aunt Xiao's home. While the adults chatted, I sat alone on a small stool, feeling uneasy. Facing me was Xiaoping, an ice beauty, elegant, composed, and rarely smiling. In school, her hands were always neatly folded behind her back, and her posture was flawless. She excelled academically, consistently ranking first in our class, and radiated an aura of unattainable perfection. She was the type of girl that boys hesitated to approach. Yet I had known her since kindergarten. Back then, boys and girls even shared baths at school. If anyone should have felt at ease with her, it was me. Still, I sat in her home, awkwardly about 3 meters away, unable to look at her or muster the words to speak. Aunt Xiao, observing our quietness, half-jokingly, yet somewhat seriously, remarked that we looked like childhood sweethearts, implying our families might become in-laws someday. I experienced a rush of embarrassment. Xiaoping and I did not communicate again after that. We attended the same schools and classrooms for nearly 10 years, yet we instinctively maintained our distance, as if being close might trigger an unseen explosion. It wasn't until 50 years later, in 2017, that we reunited. This meeting occurred in Vancouver, where Xiaoping and her husband were visiting. As we chatted, we finally laughed about the absurdity of our childhood, transforming the unspoken tension of those years into warm, nostalgic memories. In our discussion, I learned that Xiaoping's mother was still alive. This triggered strong memories of my own mother, igniting a deep urge to interview her to understand a past I had never fully grasped. So, upon returning to Shanghai in 2018, I asked Xiaoping to arrange a meeting between me and her mother. During this encounter, I came to a profound realization. My mother's decision to marry my father had significant consequences. Mrs. Xiao recounted that when my mother started courting my father, she faced tremendous pressure, with several men, including powerful leaders, competing for her affection. It wasn't merely that my father wasn't a party member or that he had connections to Taiwan. It was about her refusal of the goodwill from someone powerful. This choice carried consequences. My mother remained steadfast. They tied the knot in January 1958. Her decision to marry my father did not sit well with her superiors, which meant sacrificing a brighter future and a more prestigious union. The repercussions were clear in the events that followed. Although my mother held the same rank as Xiaoping's father, my parents were assigned considerably inferior housing. While Xiaoping's family resided in a spacious two-bedroom apartment with a living room and full amenities in an upscale Bund building, my parents were given a cramped 12-square-meter room that lacked both a kitchen and a bathroom. This clearly illustrated the suppression of someone in my mother's position within the government. Yet I never heard her express any complaints. She never felt resentment for her sacrifices, never compared herself to others, and showed no signs of regret. Instead, she devoted herself entirely to her husband, always treating him with the utmost respect. She was gentle and patient, never acting like a typical Shanghai girl prone to tantrums. She did not ask for more than she had. With quiet grace and strength, she accepted her life choices without bitterness. Even after 60 years, those who knew her remembered her vividly. She chose him against her family, superiors, and all odds. And she never regretted her decision.